Well, who's fooling the Aam Aadmi? Because at the end of the day, it's about the public policy, it's about public money and the money of the public exchequer, which allegedly has been misappropriated. That's the charge that CBI is investigating. The truth of it, of course, will be known by a court of law. But a full-blown political war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. Joining us on the broadcast are our panel of guests, Vinit Goenka from the BJP, Siddharth Sharma from the Aam Aadmi Party, DK Giri, who's a political analyst, is also with us on the show. We also have Mr. Shantanu Sen, who's the former Joint Director of CBI, and Kapil Sankla, who's a lawyer, is also with us on the broadcast. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of the show. Mr. Goenka, coming to you first. Mr. Manish Sisodia held a press conference today. And he said this is about a political challenge that the Aam Aadmi Party is creating for the BJP. They also went on to say that the persona of Arvind Kejriwal is actually a challenge and a build-up to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and their excise policy would have earned the Delhi government about 10,000 crore rupees. You're just jealous. Mr. Goenka.
Yeah. So I think probably, every thief on this earth or this planet would rather like to say that he's honest, and he would shout on the, the most possible decibel that he's not a culprit till he's been proved that. And Manish Sisodia is doing the same thing. And I think he has to remind himself that he was involved in the scam. They are the people who not only brokered the liquor mafia, they have kept all the rules on bay. I'll give you certain examples. A, by increasing the number of days of drinking, by reducing the dry day, increasing the number of hours of drinking, increasing the number of shops, that too in areas which they are not supposed to open, near temples and near schools. They also went to a level where they decreased the age of drinking and pushed the entire generation towards liquor, where we would find our generations after 10 years or 20 years not that properly been groomed because they were into drinking, thanks to this Aam Aadmi Party. And moreover, the earnest money deposit which was returned without any procedure been followed, the 144 crore rupees directly involved in these particular things, and thousands of crores which were been perceived loss. I think these are all the questions he has to answer. He knows that he is involved. He knows that how much money he has got and others have got. I would request him through your channel, he should come out, not waste time of the investigating agencies, and tell them, because investigating agencies will certainly find it out what he has done, with whom he has done, and what are the who are the people who have benefited out of this.
Mr. Goenka, one question which I'm sure the Aam Aadmi Party has been raising, and I'm preempting the arguments to make it more constructive, that if it's about the number of outlets that have been opened, or the manner in which the liquor policy has been extended, or the increasing number of liquor shops in Delhi, this could be argued to be a bad policy of the Delhi government, but there is no element of criminality. One argument that the Aam Aadmi Party repeatedly is asking, and they said that earlier at the 6 p.m. show as well, is that where are the proceeds of crime? If you're saying that there is some sort of a corruption that has happened, or a kickback that Manish Sisodia or others that have got, where is the money?
Okay, very good. You have asked this question, and thanks, because the viewer should know what actually happened. When a tender has been floated, there is something called as earnest deposit which cannot be returned if the obligations on the applying of the person, the party which is applying the tender, does not meet through. And here they have returned that 30 crore rupees, and they have to answer why did they do it without any procedure, without mentioning this, without following the rules. A. B. The shops which were allocated have been relocated to the relatives and friends of Aam Aadmi Party. There are names which have come out, and I'm sure the agency will come out with all these particular names. Let me give you one more reason why there is something murkier inside this. Manufacturers of liquors do not get distribution licenses in Delhi. That's the rule. Yet they have floated that. They went ahead and gave it to the manufacturer. There was a cartel. They gave the business to blacklisted companies. Moreover, did you ever find in anywhere in the world where when you complain against somebody, he would investigate his own complaints? If the liquor is not proper, the right of inspecting the quality of the liquor was earlier with the department, which was withdrawn and given to the distributor. Now, who on the earth would blame himself for the bad liquor?
Okay.
So, I see all the reasons that there was criminality been involved, the conspiracy been involved, by pushing these shops. I have been in Delhi for so long. I have never seen so many shops coming up. The number of shops which have come up, especially near the temples and the schools.
Okay.
And these are two things which they have done.
Okay.
One, push the entire generation into liquor. I feel they should feel ashamed of this. This is nothing, not a
Vinitji, I am going to focus on the part of your argument where you're talking about certain degree of criminality. I'm not going to debate on the morality of a policy, at least for the purpose of this debate. We have seen, Siddharth ji, an entire 2 days of allegations and counter-allegations, trying to bring some substance to this political narrative. Is it true that there were people who got these liquor licenses who were actually manufacturers? The manner in which the liquor policy extended, these are people who were known to Delhi Deputy Chief Minister or other ministers in the government. Is there a nexus that was running? Because that forms the core and the crux of the FIR, if you read through it, and the allegations of the BJP. Please speak on this.
Yeah, good evening, Anusha. One of the captions that is running on your screen encapsulates this whole debate very nicely, where you say that BJP spooked by AAP. Now, why is BJP spooked by AAP? I'll answer all the questions that you have asked as well as Vinit ji has asked, because this debate seems to be a very decent and a constructive debate. So I'll try to answer all the questions.
Okay.
So what has happened essentially is that BJP stands for bankruptcy of policy and it fears Kejriwal's competency. That is the key element here. When they see AAP's, Aam Aadmi Party's education model being talked about on the world stage like New York Times, within 24 hours they try to scuttle the good name of the person who is bringing it by sending a raiding party. Basically what the BJP's fight is against the children's education, against your and my children's education. The fight is not against corruption anymore. When Mr. Vinit ji is asking certain questions, there are three protagonists to this whole saga. One is Mr. Manish Sisodia, the second is the excise policy of Delhi, and the third is the corruption angle. So as far as Manish Sisodia is concerned, I've already answered. He has done some exemplary work, and this seems to be this is a very clear case of the Modi government, of the BJP government trying to hide its own bankruptcy of policy by sullying the good name of someone who has done exemplary work in education.
But can
I'll
you
come to that. I'll come to that.
Please,
I'll come to that.
please
I'll come to that. I'll come to the excise policy
Yes,
part.
yes.
I'll come to the excise policy part.
Yes.
I'll come to the excise policy part. Now, whenever a policy is made, an excise policy is made within the confines of the Vidhan Sabha. That excise policy has been sent to the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. He has suggested certain changes to it. The new policy incorporates those changes, and then the Lieutenant Governor is changed, and just 2 days before this excise policy, which already has the consent of the LG, technically it has the consent of the LG, that is said to be bad. Now the question is, an excise policy, a policy of a government. You were saying that you are going to not get into the morality of the debate, but the crux of the argument.
Yeah.
An excise policy. Tomorrow, if Tamil Nadu comes up with a policy, any policy that any government brings in, anybody who is upset with that policy or anybody who has any objection to the policy has three options before him to protest against that policy. Option number one, fight that policy on the floor of the house and make sure that the bill doesn't pass. That is how a political party debates within the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha or the Vidhan Sabhas.
Okay.
The second way, an excise policy or any policy of a government, if a person feels aggrieved by it, he can challenge it in a court of law saying that this is not in public interest.
Okay.
The third way any policy can be challenged is by making sure that they bring people on the road and protest against it. The BJP has very strangely not chosen either of these three options and gone ahead and made it a criminal angle.
Tomorrow,
this is a federal country.
I have a very